Your next module is Financial Valuation Methods, Part 1, question number 1. Investors are likely to view the high price-earning ratio as an indication that earnings have growth potential. That makes perfect sense. Price-earning ratios, they do indicate that the earnings are going to go up and the investors are willing to pay more price for it. So this is a correct option. It's a correct option. Earnings have peaked and will remain flat. Wrong. High PE ratios indicate investors' faith, investors' confidence in earning growth, not on the performance that has peaked. Earnings have peaked and will likely flatten out in the future. Wrong again. High PE ratios generally indicate investors' confidence, not the performance will become flat or will fall. So this is wrong. Option D, there is no logical conclusion to reach about the relationship between price and earning. It's absolutely wrong. Price-earning ratios, they give quite a useful knowledge, useful insight into investors' confidence, investors' faith in the earnings growth. So this is wrong. So the correct option is option A. Coldwell is using a constant growth dividend discount model to forecast the value of the share of the common stock. Inherent in Coldwell's assumption is the idea that compounding is linear. Wrong. Compounding takes this form, which basically is exponential, not linear. This is incorrect. Dividends will grow at a rate faster than the presumed discount rate. This is again incorrect because the share price is equal to the expected dividend upon the cost of equity minus G. So for the denominator to be positive, the cost of equity minus growth should be greater than 0, which means the cost of equity should be greater than the growth rate. Growth rate should not be more than the discount rate. So this is incorrect. Stock price will grow at the same rate as dividend. That is the correct option. That is one of the underlying assumptions in the dividend discount model, that the stock price will grow at the same rate as the dividend, hence producing the constant growth rate. This is the correct option. Why not D? Stock price will grow at the same amount as dividend. This is incorrect. Not the same amount, rather the same rate. A valuation estimation technique that can be adapted to startup companies, the companies that just started business, and other situations where earnings are very low or they might be negative. Price-earning ratio. Price-earning projections, price-earning ratio is only suitable when there is some reasonable earnings. Negative or low earnings will make P ratio less meaningful. Incorrect. Price-earning growth ratios, PEG ratios, again like price-earning ratios, it depends upon some meaningful numbers on earnings. Negative earnings or very low earning for startup businesses, P growth ratio won't work well. Price to sales ratio, that is perfect. This is the perfect option, the right option. We can use price sales ratio for businesses that have just started, which have lower sales and of course very less profit. So this is correct. Price sales ratio can be used for startup companies and other situations where the earnings are low. Where the earning data is not meaningful, we can use price earning ratio. Hence, this is our right option. Constant growth model. This is less adaptable, less usable to the firms that have very low earnings compared to the price sales ratio. So if you compare C and D, C is much more meaningful, much more usable than model D. An analyst is reviewing a startup company with no net earnings. If the analyst wants to use a price multiple approach to valuation rather than a discounted cash flow method, the analyst would most likely, remember it's a startup company with no net earnings, so that rules out P ratios, PG projections, return on residual, P ratio. This is the most appropriate. Price sales ratio projection, just like the previous question, like question number 3. So this is our right option. Davis wants to buy shares of Epoch Corporation. If Davis uses zero growth model, a desired rate of return 20% and a dividend of 10%, what was Epoch's price? Simple. The price is equal to the dividends divided by the growth rate is 0. The desired rate is 20%. So if you simplify, it's going to be $50. That makes C to be the correct option. A company's common stock has a market value of 45, that is the market price per share. The company market price per share. The company's most recent annual earnings are $3.6. This is the earning per share. And the company pays an annual dividend of 1.5 per share. This is the dividend per share. What is the company's price earning ratio? We know price earning ratio or price earning multiple is equal to market price per share over earning per share. So fairly straightforward question. 45 upon 3.6, which will give you 12.5. This is your price earning multiple, and that matches with the option C. An analyst notes the current price of Karnani Enterprises stock is 15 per share. That is the market price per share at the moment, while the EPS is $3. Okay. The PEG ratio is 1.25. Okay. What has the analyst projected as the growth rate for Karnani Enterprises? I'm going to straight away write the formula for the calculation of growth rate upon growth rates times 100. Just plug in the numbers. PEG is 1.25. Current price is 15. Earning per share, the current, it's 3 upon 100G. Now if you make G the subject of the equation, it will simplify to this. 100G is equal to 15 by 3, that is 5, right? 5 upon 1.25. And then you further simplify, G is equal to 5 upon 100 times 1.25 is equal to, and if you give it in percentages, it's going to be 4%. So that makes D to be the correct option. Fernwell wants to buy shares of Gerst company in 2 years. Fernwell uses a constant growth dividend discount model with a presumed dividend growth rate of 5%, that's G. If the Fernwell's discount rate is 10%, that's the cost of equity, and the Gerst current year dividend is $20, that is the dividend just paid, what is the approximate price Fernwell will pay at the end of year 2? Now just look at the timeline. Right now, after 1 year, after 2 years. If the dividend paid just now is 20, it will grow by 5%. So by the time at the end of year 1, the dividend will be 20 times 1.05. I can simply write it as 20 times 1.05. The end of year 2, the dividend will grow to 1.05 squared. Now this is an important point. This is the dividend at the end of year 2. Now I want to calculate the price of the share at this point in time at the end of year 2. So if I need the price of the stock at the end of year 2, for this I need to take the current dividend, which is 20 times 1.05 squared, and I need to grow it with the factor 1.05. Please note, this is the dividend at the end of year 0 now, just paid. Dividend at the end of year 1, dividend at the end of year 2. 20 to 1.05 square is the dividend at the end of year 2, which is to be grown by 1.05. This would be the calculation. The numerator will give you the next dividend. The calculation of this numerator will give you the next dividend to be paid at the end of year 3. Now we're going to apply the discount rate, that is 10% minus the growth rate, and if you simplify whole of it, this should give you $463.05, which is approximately option D. Stock priced at $50 per share is expected to pay $5 dividends and trade at 60 per share in 1 year. What is the expected return on the stock? That's what you call the holding period return, HPR. That's what we study in CFA. So there are two types of returns. First, you have earned dividend of $5, and there is a share price appreciation also called capital gain. The price went up from 50 to 60, so the change in price is 50 and 60 is differential plus 5 to be the dividends income divided by the initial investment, and whatever the result comes, multiply it with 100 to give you the result in percentages. So it's going to be 30%, that is D. So remember, 60 minus 50 represents the price appreciation, 50 is the dividend income. This is what you have earned upon an investment of $50, the initial investment, times 100, that is 30%. The overall return on the stock, also called the holding period return, that is 30%. A company has the following financial information: net operating profit after taxes, capital expenditure, depreciation expense, and changes in working capital. What Amount is the company's free cash flow to the firm. I'm sure you would have attended my overview lecture on this specific module, and I'm sure you would remember the formula. It's the net operating profit after taxes. To this we add back depreciation, less capital expenditures, less any investment in the working capital. So if you just simplify this, you should get your answer. 18 plus 8 gives you 26, less than 4, total of $12,000. That makes C to be the correct option. IOTA Corporation is using a PEG ratio to forecast stock price in the coming year, forward looking. The company's PEG ratio is 4 times and its current earning per share is 10. Growth rate is expected to be 2.5. What is the projected stock price? Okay, apply the formula. PEG is equal to P naught upon the forward earnings upon G. Plug in the numbers. If you make P naught the subject of the equation, it's going to be PEG times E1, earning in the year 1, times growth rate. Plug it in. PEG is 4 times. This 10 basically is E naught, the current year's earning, which is going to grow up by 2.5. So you are going to write 10 times 1.25 and then multiply the result with 2.5, which is the expected growth rate. And if you just simplify all of this, it's going to give you 102.50, which is approximately 102, and that's your answer.